Divine beings, peace, love, abundance, blessings. My name is AstroPapi, and I want to discuss the path of Lilith and connecting with Lilith as a spirit guide. Now, Lilith is not necessarily a demon. Lilith is the aspect of nature, the divine feminine aspect of nature, Mother Earth, that cannot be tamed, that cannot be controlled, that cannot be minimized, that cannot be used for any reason. Lilith is true freedom. Lilith is a self-created, self-made being who prefers the freedom of the wilderness, the freedom of being in her own power, the freedom of being in her own truth, than to subjugate herself to any forms of control, surrender, and I'm hearing purity, but these religious notions of what purity is, because there's nothing wrong with purifying your energy through spiritual cleansing or lighting white candles, but holier than thou purity, where one is shamed for being human, where one is shamed for being natural, nature, primal, primordial, because Lilith is the primordial divine feminine, primordial being of ancient earth. And we have different primordial divine feminine spirits that get a very bad rep. For example, in the Sumerian mythology, the goddess of the sea, the primordial goddess of the sea, Tiamat, is seen as a villain, as out of control of her anger, but truthfully, she is the abyss of the sea, the depths of the sea, the mysteries and strength of the sea, the unknown of the sea. So this is where we can understand how, unfortunately, historical mansplaining, spiritual mansplaining can really diminish and scrutinize the powers of the divine feminine. So when Lilith comes forward as a guide, she's coming forward to teach you more of your own strength, but to show you that there's nothing wrong with the things that society has shamed us for, including your own sensuality, your beauty, your physical body, your naked body, your anger. Because sometimes anger is necessary to tell us where we're being underserved. It's about how we utilize the anger more so than anything else. Lilith comes in to really help you be comfortable with the raw, carnal, primal aspects of who you are. Now, I'm not saying Lilith is going to say, go crazy, go wild. It's not about that, but it's about looking at where maybe certain societal conditioning from family, from society, from peers, from mentors, from religion, from institutions, make you second guess yourself, make you feel guilty for who you are, make you feel ashamed of who you are. And let's not even talk about how the patriarchy can really scrutinize and diminish the divine feminine. When we used to live in societies, humanity used to have societies where the feminine was sacred, where the feminine was honored. So when Lilith comes forward, and it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter your sex, it doesn't matter your identity, it doesn't matter your sexual orientation. When Lilith comes forward, this can be where she wants you to accept more of your own divine shadows. And I mean, using the words divine shadows, for those who do not know what shadow work is in spirituality, shadow work is looking at your own depths. Shadow is our basically like our deadly sins, not the 7 deadly sins, but our own inner deadly sins. And again, what even is a sin? That already has a connotation that sets us up to point fingers at ourselves. And when Lilith comes forward, she wants you to look at your dark side, your sensuality, your sexuality. She wants you to look at where you have shame, where you don't find yourself beautiful based on colonial or patriarchal standards of what beauty is, because we have been programmed to believe that beauty has a certain skin tone, a certain shape, a certain look. And beauty is, as Lilith embodies, free. Beauty is raw. Beauty is organic. Beauty is true. Now, I'm not saying that there's a bad beauty or a good beauty and that what society deems as beautiful isn't beautiful. What I'm saying is that all spectrums of being can be beautiful. All spectrums of what a body can look like can be beautiful, so long as you are content, you own it, and you claim it. So there is so much of the naked body that Lilith embodies. There can definitely be, for anybody here who is looking to get into any type of sexual dom work or dominatrix work, like Lilith can be a guide to help you be in that very like dark, seductive empowerment state. And some people want to be controlled in a sensual way. And some people want power in a sensual way. And if it's consensual, there's nothing wrong with that. So Lilith wants you to embrace the parts of you that feel quote unquote freakish. Now, there's a lot of rituals that you can do with Lilith, and I'm explaining a lot of the inner work that she guides you to do. The other thing I'll say is that she is fiercely protective, especially when it comes to those who go through any type of, let me use my words correctly, false spiritual groups, false spiritual associations. Remember, Lilith left Adam, and I haven't even talked about her story. Lilith was the original woman. Lilith was the first wife of Adam, and the story was erased from biblical texts because, well, Lilith's story would cause a uproar in patriarchal order. But here we go, looking at the power and beauty of time and how time and generations can honor what was once dishonored and bring the power back to the sacred feminine. So here we have Lilith, whose story was erased, who did not want to bend or submit to Adam, who did not want to be stuck in a garden, who wanted freedom. She didn't choose to convince Adam. She didn't choose to beg Adam. She left herself to be in the wilderness. So when Lilith comes forward, she wants you to embrace your own individuality, your own autonomy. She doesn't want you to be part of any group, especially spiritual groups, especially occult groups. And yes, even in the magical communities, in the spiritual communities, in the esoteric communities, there's still a lot of like religion. There's still a lot of patriarchy. There's still a lot of like, this is right and this is wrong, and you must do things like this, and you must follow me, and we must follow this one person, and whatever this person says, we will incorporate into our path. And that still follows the same silhouette of religion that true spirituality wants to break out of, because true spirituality is knowing you. Not knowing what somebody else says about you, but knowing you. And this is what Lilith wants you to see, all of who you are, and where you overthink, and where you second guess, and where you edit yourself. Now, Lilith can also come forward for people who are going through domestic violence situations, abusive situations, romance that went really toxic and potentially is harmful to your emotional, spiritual, mental, and yes, even physical health. Lilith can come in with a strong protective force. And there's this false ideology, false mythology, that Lilith is a demoness that abducts children. That is far from the truth. Lilith is a goddess who just loves her freaking freedom. And anywhere where one's freedom is compromised, she steps in. So yes, she can be a protector of the feminine, of the masculine, who are in alignment with the feminine, meaning the masculine who honor the feminine, who see the feminine. And she can also be a protector, I'm going to say this, even if it's not traditional, of children. So there's a lot of false ideology of Lilith. Lilith does have underworld aspects, yes, because again, this is primordial. The underworld are the roots in which trees create barks, and then they stem and grow and go up into the light. So this is where darkness and light are one. If you ever look at nature, there are corpses on forests, on the earth, all around, and that becomes fertilizer for land, for trees. And these stems and these roots, these roots and that are in the darkness, that are in the underworld, take all of that up, moving it up into the light. All right? So Lilith does have underworldly aspects. Animals that can be associated with her are serpents, because serpents represent shedding, truth, tantra, sensuality. And tantra isn't just sexuality or sensuality. Tantra is also being one with your physical vessel. She can also be represented through crows and ravens. There's a lot of discussions if Lilith is an embodiment of the earth element or the air element. And different occultists will say different things. So this is where I say she can be both. She can manifest as the air element to bring in radical change and transformation into your life. Or she can manifest into the earth element, where she wants you to really hone in on yourself and hone in on your internal sensuality, sexuality, and explore those things, even if it's just with yourself or with somebody who's consenting. All right. The last thing I want to say about Lilith is that she just wants you to be free. And there's certain times of the year where I feel her energy stronger, and I would say that's definitely the fall and the winter. That doesn't mean that Lilith can't come toward any other time of year, but a lot of people might feel her presence stronger in the colder months. And in Greek mythology, the colder months, the ends of the year, are when Persephone, the goddess of spring, becomes the goddess of the underworld. So we have repeated mythology of Earth, of the feminine aspects of Earth, where she cannot be controlled, she cannot be tamed, she cannot be subjugated. And here we go with mansplainers of mythology trying to dishonor them, the divine feminine, and depict them as either victims or villains. And in my last Persephone video, I mentioned how she chose to be with Hades. The myth is wrong. Now, if you're trying to connect with Lilith, offerings that you can give to her are pomegranate, are apples, are cigars, are liquors, red wine, dark rum. I'm getting dark incenses like myrrh. I'm also smelling sandalwood, amber. You can dedicate black candles to her. And if you're trying to release, transmute, purge, white candles. Lilith is tough love. Lilith has a bit of what some would call scorpionic or plutonian energies, because she wants you to let go of where you surrender control, where you surrender your power, where you second guess yourself, and where you limit yourself. And she wants you to be untapped, untamed, and free. And yes, when she is protective, spiritually and energetically, I'll say this, she can bring fast results. So if somebody is causing great harm to somebody who is innocent, and Lilith comes forward, she will handle that very quickly and very immediately. And I will just say, if you're choosing to work with her, it's not that she's going to be your personal bodyguard, but more so when you really need that divine protection, don't get caught in the crossfires. Don't get caught in the crossfires, because she comes in with so much love and fierce protection, very much like Mother Bear energy. So Lilith is the divine feminine. Lilith can come up in a very maternal way, but also in a maiden way where she wants you to know that it's okay to explore aspects of yourself that are sensual, that are creative, that are sexual. And she can show up as the crone where she's teaching you more about yourself and tapping you into spell work and alchemy. I'm going to pull some cards and see if there's anything else that must come forward for Lilith. And if I'm told to make another video, I will. I hope that these videos are of service to you all. And anytime I connect with any spirit guide or deity, I'm really trying to do my best to give them the best representation that I can through my own firsthand experience connecting and working with them. And again, I will say Lilith is fiercely protective. Lilith can actually be connected to a lot in nature. So if you're not able to have an altar for her or get a statue for her, give offerings to her in nature. Pour wine in nature. Give libations in nature. Give fruit, organic, degradable, biodegradable things to her in nature. And honor her there, because she is the freedom of nature. She is the wilderness of nature. She is the uncontrollable aspects and manifestation of nature. Nature cannot be tamed. Nature cannot be controlled. I'm getting the word savage. And what does it mean when somebody says that? And where is that, again, religion coming forward? What is savagery? And I feel like Lilith is giving me this strong emphasis on spiritual practices that deal with honoring land, honoring nature, paying homage to lunar cycles, paying homage to the sun. What is so savage about honoring what is right in front of us, that sustains us, that sustains the food we eat on a daily basis? If you want to hear me stronger, hear me in nature, be in nature, and understand that nature vibrates at a higher vibration, at a higher consciousness than humanity does. And that is why shamans, that is why warlocks, witches, spiritual folks, of all names, of all sorts, go to nature for answers. The cards that we have are the High Priestess. She's teaching you about honoring your intuition. She will teach you private rituals, just you and her, one-on-one. This includes seduction work, attraction work, magnetism work, spiritual defense, and spiritual protection. We have the Queen of Wands, sacred sensuality. The Queen of Wands gets that scarlet letter treatment though. So this is where you want to honor that power. Honor the power of seduction. Honor the sacred feminine that is within. And it doesn't matter, again, your gender, your sexuality, or your sex. Everybody has a masculine and feminine energy. And it's not really about what you wear. It's not about lipstick or makeup. It's about intentionality and mindset. The masculine does, the feminine pulls and attracts. Then we have the Page of Wands. A relationship with Lilith will really help you see yourself as sexy and really understand the power of sacral chakra energy. This is where sensuality and creativity both coexist. Let go of the shame. Stop the shame. Stop the years of shame. For those who might have the black sheep treatment in the family, some call this the witch's wound, where you're shunned by others. Lilith will teach you how to really enjoy your solitude and not to care. The last card that we have is the Nine of Pentacles. Whatever you fear doing that can be expansive for you. For example, super random example, if you've always wanted to sing karaoke, or if you want to wear different types of clothing but you're not comfortable yet, or if you want to step into seduction but you find yourself awkward, or if you really want to hone in on your spiritual gifts but you're afraid of them, Lilith is going to push those barriers, push those boundaries, and help you unroot the narrative of fear and shame and guilt and tap you into radical, fierce self-love. But this doesn't feel gushy and romantic and I'm holding my heart. This feels like I'm on fire and tapping into that element of fire that is within you and honoring it. If you want to dedicate crystals to an altar for her, garnet feels very important. Garnet is very strong for sensuality. And I'm seeing carnelian and I'm seeing obsidian. And again, this is Lilith's energy. It's both protective and offensive. I ain't gonna lie. I won't give any rituals for that. But it's also sensual and creative and magnetic. Lilith is both the warrior and a sensual goddess. And there's power in being both, especially in the embodiment of the feminine, where that is given negative titles and negative associations. But the reason why is because all that quote unquote shaming, and this can even be going into slut shaming, right? Historical, mythological slut shaming, all of that is intentional to diminish. And when Lilith comes in, let me tell you, she's setting all of that on fire for you. And she's helping you transmute and purge all of that to tap in to the sacred serpent energy that is within you. She's very tough love. She doesn't like you being around people who limit you. And she forbids you to be around people who are very minimizing, who say snarky comments, snarky remarks. So be ready to let go in honor of a new life that you are deserving of, where you feel self-empowered, where you feel self-confident, where you push yourself out of your comfort zone, and yes, or you tap in to your seductiveness. Doesn't matter how introverted or shy or hermited or awkward you are, if Lilith is knocking, it's either she's teaching you protection, self-advocacy, fighting for yourself, tapping into that inner warrior, or seduction, tapping into that seductress energy, or hey, both. All right? I hope that this video was a service. If you have any questions, please write them down below and I'll get back to you. And if you want to book a private reading with me, I offer a Akashic record and tarot readings. How to do so is in the about below. I also offer private spell work and energetic healing, Reiki healing as well. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find my Instagram handle below. Stay beautiful, stay seductive, stay in your power, stay in your dark divine feminine, your dark divine masculine, and be great. All right? And remember, tap into the dark sides of you and the spirit realm, but be ethical and be responsible.